I don't think I've discovered any new economic theory with this, but I think I've made it readable. But I've tried to bring in some of the great insights of both Hayek and Mises and Rothbard, and they really had a lot to say, even about issues that really weren't as big then that are bigger now, like income inequality. We have a couple chapters on that, but Mises had stuff to say about income inequality. Hayek had it, and one of the things that Hayek said, and it's a little bit hard to get this out to people, but it's, I think, an incredible point. If you want everybody to have equal outcomes, you have to treat them unequally. So the law, so if you're better at something and you sell more of your goods and you have twice as much money, but we want to be equal and we're going to have equal amounts of income, somehow the law is going to have to treat you worse than it treats me. And it's something I don't think that socialists quite get, because most of these people come from the left and they're for equal protection, the law should treat everybody equally. But you can't have equality of outcome unless you treat people differently, because people have different merits and people have different ability to sell things and different talents. And I think if we could get that point across to them, that because they're all for fairness, and then they think fairness is equality, but they don't realize that, one, it's going to take violence by whoever has to be the equality police or the fairness police. They're going to have to come in and redistribute things through violence, but it's also going to take an unequal law, a law that treats people based on who they are, how well they do, and treats people differently, doesn't treat people equally under the law.
Yeah, there's a chapter later in your book where you point out, and I feel like you're talking to some of our progressive friends, that socialism, besides the economics, socialism is particularly oppressive to free spirits and artists, and speech itself
Right.
Cannot be tolerated because of that dynamic you're talking about. If everyone's equal, it means that everyone is equally oppressed.
Right. And I think there's also a scheme of things, sort of a gradation from no socialism or all capitalism to all socialism. And, we're somewhere sort of in the middle. And one of the points I want to make is that people who argue for some sort of kinder, gentler socialism is that maybe it's not possible, but it's particularly not possible the more socialism you get. And there is a point at which people will resist. So if you tax me 50% of my income, oh, that's right, I could be in America today. And people resist to a certain extent. We vote for people to lower our taxes, but we don't necessarily rebel or have violent rebellion. But if you tell me, or I tell Matt and Terry Kibbe, that you're going to have 6 families now that live within your house and we're going to come and take the deed to your house, there is a point at which people resist. And then the question is, we have to get a leader. Socialists will need a leader that is efficient at taking your house and can suppress your resistance. And so then the question is, Stalin isn't, they say he's an accident, or Castro's an accident.
Yeah.
Maybe they're inherent. And as Hayek says, he says, well, you know what? Maybe the best socialist leader is the most ruthless. So you're actually selecting for ruthlessness, because to take people's property, you have to be ruthless ultimately.